rabbis, the history of the various chief rabbis that there were in Jerusalem, in Yerushalayim, and we're going to concentrate on today on a rabbi that was a chief rabbi of a window of time in the 1600s. His name was Rabbi Samuel Garmison. Zechet Tzadik Libracha. There's differing opinions on the time period he was born. I hear written somewhere it says 1600, another source says 1605, but seemingly passed away in the year 1675. So he was probably about 75 years of age at the time he passed away. He was one of the greatest sages, let's just say, of Jerusalem, the holy city, during the 17th century, and was the author of various great Torah books in of itself. Now, it's interesting, he was born in an area called Saloniki in Yavan, which naturally translates as Greece. So it was in the very early 1600s, different opinions over here, albeit it's May, he was born over there. Remember, Greece in that day had a really great Torah community. And that's reported over, it's believed by some medievals, from some scholars, that he might have been born in the area of Worms over there, because I think his family name is the name of the city which was named to name that place in the medieval times. So for that reason, it's a thought that, but we don't exactly know, or I can't really trace out what was going on. But when he was at a young age, he would move from Saloniki, from Greece, to the land of Israel with his family, and they would settle in Jerusalem, the holy city, at that point in time. Remember, that stage in time, Jerusalem, there was a strong Torah community also. And I believe there were many Talmidim at that point in time. And I think at the mid-1640s, he was already considered one of the biggest rabbis, let's just say, in Israel or in Jerusalem at that point in time. And he would, let's say, give over various haskamot. His signature will be found in various different places within regards, for example, I think at the time period of Rabbi Yitzchak Cohen Sholel, within regards to the whole enactment of not charging taxes for Torah scholars. I think he was one of the signatories on this actually famous document, if I'm not mistaken. So he was considered very big. In the year 1647, he would be sent as a Shochet Rabbanan, as a rabbinic emissary, on behalf of the great rabbis of Jerusalem. A very prominent role, because remember, at that point in time, a rabbinic emissary's job would be to, first of all, raise funds for that locale, for Jerusalem respectively, or for one of the holy cities of Israel. But at the same time, it was a dual purpose. He would go to those vicinities and would strengthen those communities respectively, teach, educate, and really inspire. So he would actually go to Malta over there. And he would see at that point in time, I think there was a dwindling, especially in that specific vicinity, within regards to Torah study, Torah flourishing. So he really tried to strengthen it in of itself. Now, it's reported over that we see the horrors of anti-Semitism. He was taken captive or hostage when he was in the window of time in Malta. He was put in captivity, very, very bad. And see the terrible anti-Semitism that has been all throughout Jewish history in of itself. And I think they would try and raise a ransom of money. Many people would. I think maybe in Venice, there was, I think Rabbi Shmuel actually would go around the city, the vicinity, to try and raise money to free him at that point in time. And I think it was even delayed, this freeing at that point in time, because apparently there was a disagreement with regards to the people that put in captive, how they would distribute the money. But thank God he did return at the end, and he would, I believe, spend the time, once he was freed, he was able to return to Malta over there, and would be taking on various different roles within regards to the Jewish congregation there, strengthening it, and very much would return various different halachic responsa from all over different vicinities, respectively, giving halachic clarity on many different issues. Come on, the year 1660, at that point in time would be probably at the start of his 60s, he would return to Jerusalem, and over there I think he would through advice also of Rav Moshe Galante, to actually become an educator in the famous Yeshiva Bet Yaakov, which I think was actually set up, if I'm not mistaken, the head of that point in time was Rabbi Yisrael Yaakov Chagiz, very, very famous rabbi in himself. There was many great rabbis at that point in time. There was also Rabbi Abraham Halevi Amigo, that great rabbi we've spoken before, and he would have strong presence inside the yeshiva. He would give various different drashot sermons, especially on Shabbat and on the festivals, and he would learn Kabbalah with a really exclusive top level chavruta of Rabbi Yaakov Tzemach. And I think the famous Chida, Rabbi Samuel would actually recount with regards to some of his teachings within the Kabbalah in various different books of his. He became very famous as one of the most famous poskim at that stage in time in Jerusalem. He would return various different she'elot that was addressed to him from all over different areas of Eretz Yisrael especially. There was many people coming to him for advice, and his signature would be featured in various different shuvot, I think in various different even takanot with regards to Chachamim of Jerusalem at that point in time. As we said before, he was in correspondence with Rabbi Yisrael Yaakov Chagiz, Rabbi Moshe Galante was one of the famous rabbis in time, Rabbi Yaakov Biton, Rabbi Shlomo Al-Ghazi, and various other rabbis, and really appeared like he would become, let's say, an outstanding rabbi in Jerusalem, and very, very interesting. And I think he had a connection with other rabbis, including Rabbi Shmuel Vital, Rabbi Mordechai Levi, who was, I believe, also very much connected family-wise with Rabbi Avraham Levi, the author of the Ginat Sparadim, Rabbi David Conforti, and various other great rabbis over there. So you can see at that point in time, these were the greatest rabbis of Jerusalem, respectively, and the greatness that they actually perpetuated all over the world. We spoke about how Rabbi Samuel Garmison had a strong connection with Rabbi Shmuel Abu Hab, remember, within regards to his time in Gibraltar, and they were very much in correspondence the whole time, and took care of the needs very much from a Chetet point of view in Jerusalem, in the holy city of Jerusalem, all throughout. It's actually reported over many great books all throughout his period of time. Remember, the Torah flourishing at that stage in time was great, and I believe among his books included a writing, I believe, on Torah, Kabbalah works in itself. I think his book, the Imre Bina, was based on the Sechet Sanhedrin, Tractate of Manhedrin, and I think Rabbi Meir Ben Yaakov actually writes down that there was 52 books that was actually authored, if I'm not mistaken, and many of them was found still in manuscript form. He would actually testify. The Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef Dabdaz, was writing an incredible book, Shem Migdoli, large quotation with regards to his writings. Among his other books include the Mishpatei Tzedek, which was She'elot Shuvot, questions and answers. I think that was first printed in manuscript form, and then it would be printed through Rabbi Yosef Shammah in Jerusalem in Year Tavshin Hey. Then there was the Imre Bina, the Pat Lechem, which was, let's say, Shitot and Perushim on various different tractates on the Talmud in itself. And I believe at a way later stage, through the publication house of Haravi Nisim Yad Harav Nisim, to be precise, they would publish various different other values within regards to that. I think 3 large ones on the Sechet Kedushim, on Ketubot, the Sechet Ketubot, the Sechet Baba Kama Baba Metzia, and I think it's actually found even in the University of Rabbi Rachamim Nahorai, who happened to be. And there was Imre Kadosh, which was Perush al the Arba Tzurim, respectively, and very, very much on the great rabbis of Jerusalem would actually use it and respond to it and connect to it, including the famous Pri Chadash, Rabbi Cheskia Di Silva, in his book, the Pri Chadash. Also, Rabbi Miluchas Bachar Shmuel, in his book, the Pri Hadama, and Rabbi Yona Navon, in his book, the Chapa Kesef. That was among them. Then the Kvod Chachamim, Divrei Chachamim, Lashon Chachamim, among the books, which was Biurim on the Mamrei Chazal, respectively. I think there was 3 books in of itself, and I think it was found inside the Sifriya, the library of the famous Rishon LeZion, who was a Rishon LeZion, I believe, between the years 1893 to 1906. His name was Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elisha. Then there was Imre Noam and the Midei Shabbat, which was drashot according to the order of the Torah and the Urim, respectively. I think especially 10 various drashot on the Parashot. And on the topic of Malat Eretz Yisrael, then there was the Imre Misharim, or Imre Emet also, and Imre Yosher, and the Orot Nimot, which is Sifri and Perushim and Drashot on Tanakh, and the Torah and the Nevi'im and Ketuvim, respectively. Then another great work was the Darakei Noam, which was Drashot. Let's just talk about the Derech Kabbalah, respectively, and then the Torah Temet, which is the Perush, its foundation, on the Tanakh, Torah and Nevi'im, Ketuvim, Al Derech Sod, very interesting enough. So you can see the great Torah works that he published all throughout his time, which is absolutely colossal in itself. Now, I believe he was about reporting over from various different positions. He was 75 years of age. He passed away in the year 1675. Now, he passed away in Jerusalem. It was, I believe Chavruta, famous Kabbalist, would actually take his place as a head rabbi in Jerusalem at that point in time. His name was Rabbi Yaakov Tzemach, very, very famous rabbi also. So we're not too sure exact date when the date he passed away, which month or which day it happened to be itself. From the Hillel point of view, if anyone knows over here, please, I would love to know. It will be really appreciated. And he was one of the great Greek Jerusalem rabbis of his time, and very, very famous, very well quoted among many different Sfarim for many years afterwards. And he was the author of the Imre Emet, which is a commentary in the Torah on the Choshen Mishpat. So please learn more about the great rabbis of yesteryear. Please learn about the great chief rabbis of his time. He was a chief rabbi, especially in the 17th century. We're talking about back in a golden age period, you could say, in Jerusalem. And the chief rabbinate position at that point in time started up really, you could say, during the early 17th century. Eventually, these chief rabbis would form the position of the Rishon LeZion, which would have been around the mid-1600s, respectively, and would go on even to nowadays. Rishon LeZion title, at the time of Medinat Yisrael, it became official chief rabbi of Israel. So really, the first chief position would actually start at that window of time. So friends, wish you all well. Friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great Oriental rabbis of yesteryear. Please subscribe to the channel now. We're nearly on 6,500 members. If you feel anyone's interested in watching these videos, share the videos to other people also, respectively. And if you are descend from any of the great Chachamim we're speaking about, please send me an email. I'd love to hear more. So wish you well and subscribe now. Take care.